As much as it might seem that I know what I'm doing, a lot of the time I'm actually using reference libraries from elsewhere. And one of the biggest reference libraries that I use is W3 Schools. So if I type in JavaScript draw circle, I'm almost guaranteed to get a W3 Schools link down here. It's a nice one. It doesn't give me one. No, it's the top one. And what I want to point out is actually a circle in JavaScript is called an arc. So if I click on that, it gives me information on how to draw a circle. So there you go. And you can just nick this code and you can draw your own circle. It's as simple as that. And you might notice that we've already got these two lines. It's a little bit different to the way we've set it up. It doesn't really matter. You can try it yourself. But this is a good place to learn. It's a good place to come and sort of learn your trade, so to speak. So what I want to do is draw a circle on my page. I'm going to do it a little bit differently to the way that it's been done here. I want a solid coloured circle. But if I want to draw, all I need to do is specify C, that's the canvas. So we're trying to draw on the canvas, and it's got a load of tools, and this arc tool is one thing that we need. But the first line we need is called begin path. If we don't have that, every time we draw a circle, it will be connected to the previous circle, and you have lines all over the place as well as circles. So every circle we draw, we need to start off like with a clean circle. And if we've got a begin path, we also need a c.close path. Oops, better if I actually put it in. So that begins it and that closes it, and that's neat. Otherwise I'd be drawing a circle there. If I drew one next to it, it would draw a line between them, like not lifting the pen up off the paper. So that's our begin and close path. Now I need to specify what the circle is, so it's on the context. So we're always going to start off with C whenever we're, or CTX whenever we're drawing. We need to do this CTX arc here. I'm just calling mine C. C.arc, which means draw a circle. Actually, it means draw part of a circle. Just needs to know how much it is. So it needs to know where it is on the screen in X and Y coordinates. Now if you remember, our canvas is 400 wide, 300 high, so we need to draw inside this sort of boundary. If we draw it too large, you won't see it. If you draw it too small, it will be too small to see, or off the screen. So I'm going to say that I want it to be roughly at 100 pixels across the screen. So we start off with the X and the Y position. So the X and the Y position is 100, 100. So it's sort of, if I go back to my particles, it's going to be about a quarter of the way across there and about a third of the way down there. That's going to be the center of my circle. Whoops, let's put the thing back on so you can see where I'm getting my information from. The next thing it needs to know is what is the radius of the circle. So that's from the center to the outside, because it's going to draw it like a minute hand or a second hand going around a clock. It's going to draw it by whizzing around the clock. So it needs to know how wide we want it. So if I say, I don't know, let's make it 30 pixels. Okay, so it's going to be quite a small circle. I think they've got 50 here, so that's going to be a bit smaller than theirs. And this is the important part. And I'm going to do maths videos to do this. We need the angles, we need the starting angle. So we need to start at 0, and as far as I'm concerned, 0 is here. And we're going to go all the way around the circle. Now if you've done maths and circles, you know there are 360 degrees in the circle, so we could say 0 to 360 degrees. However, computers don't work in degrees, they work in something called radians. So you need to be looking, if you want to understand it, you need to look at the math section for this. And the full circle the circumference is 2 pi. Hopefully you've understood that that part in mass. 2 pi r is the formula for a circumference, and we're going to use that as our base. So we need to say it's 2 times math dot pi. I think math is lowercase. Get mixed up between math is uppercase, between Python and what have you, and pi is in capitals. And then it needs to know which direction we're going to draw. Are we going to draw in a clockwise direction, or are we going to draw in an anti-clockwise direction? If we draw anti-clockwise, I think it's false. So if I just move this out of the way, it's giving, well, in fact it doesn't give me a value here. And if we draw in a clockwise, if we draw in an anti-clockwise, it's false. If we draw in a clockwise direction, it's true. So I'm going to choose false as my last argument, and let's put semicolons at the end. So that is drawing a circle. But actually we haven't drawn the circle, we've just told the computer where it is, how wide it is, and the angle to go through. We actually need to put the pen down on the paper and make it work. I'll show you what I mean. If I just whiz back over to particles, even though I've said draw it, and if I refresh the page, it doesn't show anything at all. So let's go back. Whoops, there we are. I don't think we need this anymore, but we'll stay there. So the next thing I want to do is sort of fill the circle with a colour. So I need to say that I need from C, the tool, and it's called fill style. And I need to do two things. I need to set the style, and really it's asking for what colour it is. So I'm going to say red. So the style is asking you what colour. There's a few other things that we can use, but at the moment we're just going to look at it with colours. And although we've chosen the colour, we need to say what we want to do with it. So we need to do a fill. So we're saying C on the canvas, fill the actual circle. Down here it says stroke. Stroke means just draw the outside of the circle, so it's not even it's not thinking about the inside at all, and it hasn't set the colour. So this one would be stroke style and then stroke. This one is fill style and then fill. So if I save that, refresh my page, and there we go, we've got a nice red circle sitting in the middle or somewhere. We can move it across, so I can make it at 200, 100, so it's moving across a little bit. I can make it wider, that's fine, and I can change its colour. Let's choose a nice pink. So when I save it and refresh it, you'll see what's happened. There you go, it's got larger because the radius is different. It's moved across the screen because we changed the X coordinate. Now that's really important, because if we're going to move our ball across the screen and animate it, or our particle, we just need to change the X and the Y values. We don't really need to change the radius, and we certainly don't need to change how to draw it. We're not going to change the colour. That would just send us insane if it kept changing colour. But really, animation is just, let's just do this and show you. Animation is moving it across a little bit at a time. So let's move that across to 300. Save it, refresh it, you'll see the ball move across the screen a bit more. And we can actually go off the screen. So if I choose 400, and this is where you'll see the canvas working. Can you see how when I hit 400, it's the centre of the ball that's at 400. But it doesn't draw this part because it's off the canvas. Okay, so that's what a canvas is. It's an area that we draw, and you can see why I put the line in, so that it just doesn't look like half a circle. So let's let's make a mistake. Canvas 1, it won't like that, so it won't draw. There we go. It won't just suddenly cut off mid-screen. You don't know whether you've drawn a semicircle or what. You don't know where the edges are. It just looks a bit weird, really. So that's why I've put the borders on. So if I put the canvas back to normal and refresh the page, that makes more sense. You can see the edge of the ball. So that's how to draw a circle on the screen. But it's not very effective, it's not very efficient. We need to do a bit more programming to make things move, so we need some animation, and well, we need more balls, and we need to describe what happens with the balls, and certainly we need to be able to change these values in the program. We're changing them manually at the moment, which is not very good. So in the next video we'll start looking at setting things up and getting it ready for animation.